Hello everyone and welcome to PendulumEdu, and in this session I'm going to discuss another article with you to learn a few set of words. The article that hit for today is A New World Order on UN reforms. So there have been reforms by the UN given, and it seems or it appears that we are ordering or we're looking forward to a new world. Let's see what it is. The permanent members of the UNSC must support the reform process of the UN. At a special session marking 75 years of the United Nations on Tuesday. Now this date has to be remembered, okay? It marks the 75 years of the United Nations, and this is the point which is important or relevant as per your current affairs perspective. So it would be 22nd of September. Okay. Prime Minister Narendra Modi called for reform of its outdated structures. Now, outdated is an adjective. Outdated is an adjective, which means something that is old-fashioned, something that is not new, or I would say in trend. So it's outdated, which is it is पुराना हो चुका है. तो वो मिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी व्हाट हैज़ ही डन, ही हैज़ हिंटेड, और उन्होंने क्या चीज़ को पॉइंट आउट करके सामने रखा है, जो आउटडेटेड स्ट्रक्चर्स हैं उनको उन्होंने सामने रखा है दैट यूएन नीड्स टू लुक अपॉन इट, दे हैव टू लुक इनटू इट, दे हैव टू चेंज और ब्रिंग अ चेंज टू इट. Pointing out that in the absence of comprehensive changes, the world body today faces the crisis of confidence. Comprehensive again is an adjective. Comprehensive means overall, okay, like as a whole, complete. तो पूरी तरह से. So, because there is lack of comprehensive change to be made in the world, the entire world is today in a crisis of confidence. The countries are not confident enough of in any particular or in various I would say sections of their own, like respectively. While the words appear harsh given the occasion, though Mr. Modi what he said, it seems to be a bit rude, they can hardly be faulted. उनको मुश्किल है कि आप उनको गलती करार दें. Faulted means to address as a mistake or to take it mistaken. किसी चीज़ को गलती मानना, that is faulted. तो वो कह रहे हैं कि दो these words are harsh, but ये उनका कोई गलती नहीं है ऐसा बोलना उस situation में, उस जगह पर. India has been at the forefront of demanding reform. Forefront is noun. Okay, I'm going to wipe up the screen and explain you. India has been at the forefront of demanding reforms. So when I say forefront, this is used as a noun subject here, which means at the early, or you can say at the front stage or front face. Okay, आगे रहना. So India हमेशा आगे रहा है. It has been on the forefront of demanding reform in the UN, particularly its principal organ, the Security Council, for decades, staking its claim as one of the world's largest economies and most populous. Populous is an adjective which means populated. Countries with a tracking record in promoting a rules-based international order and contributing to peacekeeping through UN forces. The UN was born in the crisis of the World War era, and the realities of that time can hardly be compared to the present. Now, it says that UN, when it came, it was in the crisis of the World War era. It was that era, and the realities of that, if you go and look into the history, then at that time, it was hard to compare to what we are facing at present. So that was different. At present it's different. So UN has made a remarkable change in reform, but the countries, other countries, even our country demands for reforms further to actually come out better. This is what looking forward to. So they say that India, since it stands out to be an economic or largest world economy, one of the world's largest economies, plus the most populous countries, among the most populous countries, it demands the reform because it wants to grow, right? So it needs a few reforms to be made so that the economy can flourish and flourish and flourish. Now let's move ahead. Further, the writer says the UNSC does not include a permanent member from the African, Australian, and South American continents, and the pillars of the multilateral order. Multilateral is an adjective which means participation of more than two nations or two or more nations. Okay, two or more nations, जैसे बहुपक्षीय जैसे हम कहते हैं हिंदी में, बहुपक्षीय एक से अधिक लोगों का पार्टिसिपेशन होना, वैसा. सो वो कहते हैं कि अफ्रीका, ऑस्ट्रेलिया जो है और ये जो है ये सब मल्टीलैटरल ऑर्डर के पिलर्स हैं, such as the G4 group of Brazil, India, Germany and Japan. So G4 group के लिए ये, UNSC के लिए ये, have been ignored for long. Other, more representative options exist, and that has been the crux of the battle for change. Also, there's a deep polarization within the UN's membership. So decisions are either not taken or not heeded. Heeded is a verb which means paid attention. Paid attention. Dhyan dena. Okay, attention, I'm going to write again. Paid attention. That is heeded. So they say कि अगर आप deep down जाकर देखें, so there is a problem. या तो आप decisions लेते ही नहीं हो, या फिर आप उन पर ध्यान ही नहीं देते हो. So this is one major problem. Frequent divisions within the UNSC P5 end up blocking key decisions. These issues are underlined in a year where the coronavirus pandemic has brought the world to a standstill. Underlined, emphasized. ये जो issues हम face कर रहे हैं, ये किस time पर इस पर ध्यान गया लोगों का, इस pandemic में, coronavirus pandemic, जहाँ पर जो economy है, or I must say the entire world has come to a standstill. I'm going to wipe off the screen. Okay, I'll write it here. Stand still. It's a noun which means it has come to a halt. Right? एक ठहराव आ गया है. अब उससे आगे जाने के बारे में भी सोचना पड़ेगा. So जो निर्णय, जो steps ahead we're gonna take, that will determine, that would ensure how the economy or the world economies would prosper. Yet, the UN, the UNSC and the WHO have failed to play an effective role in helping nations deal with the spread. At this stage also, these organizations, the World Health Organization, UNSC and UN, they have still failed to help the nations, the countries to get over this, to get through this, to control the spread of the virus. So there has been some loophole, there has been some weakling right there which we need to locate, identify. This is the reason why there is a need for reforms. This is the reason why we are now emphasizing the need, because in this pandemic the countries have realized that there's something missing. What is missing they will realize on their own personal front, entire nation, the country, each particular country. So this is what they are further demanding. For India, what has been most frustrating is that despite the dysfunctional power balance that prevails, dysfunctional power balance, dysfunctional is an adjective which means that something that not operates properly, that not operates or functions properly. किसी चीज़ में अगर कोई गड़बड़ हो जाती है, दैट इज डिसफंक्शनल पावर बैलेंस हमेशा इंडिया में रहा, प्रिवेल करता है, मतलब वो प्रचलित है, प्रचलित होना, लाइक टू बी प्रेजेंट. Prevail means to be there or to be present. Prevail is a verb. Okay, the UN's reform process held through intergovernmental negotiations has not made progress over decades despite commitments. वादे किए जाते हैं, there are commitments, there are promises to be made, but the decisions, the steps to be taken are not fulfilled. They are not there. There's no progress at all. It's been over decades wherein the UN reform process was to be held under through this intergovernmental negotiations, IGN, but still there's no clue of this happening. The commitments went like in vain. There was nothing that happened, and still people are waiting for those reforms to come into effect. Moving ahead, it has been said that the UN has chosen to roll over the discussions of the IGN, which are looking at 5 major issues: enlarging the Security Council, categories of membership, the question of the veto that 5 permanent members of the UNSC wield, regional representation, and redistributing the Security Council General Assembly power balance. Now, there are 5 major issues that IGN is looking forward to in the rollover. So in the reforms. Now, UN has chosen to roll over the discussion of the IGN. Rollover is a verb which means to extend something. It could be any legal proceeding, it could be any decision to be taken. So अगर आप किसी चीज़ को आगे बढ़ा देते हैं, extend करते हैं, that is rollover. So UN has decided to roll over the discussion of the IGN, जिसमें ये सब included है, ये 5 चीज़ें included हैं. It is some comfort that the UN's 75th anniversary declaration passed by all member countries this week pledges मतलब it takes oath, takes an oath मतलब कोई कसम उठाना, to upgrade the United Nations with a commitment to instill new life in the discussion on the reform of the Security Council. So जो countries हैं उन्होंने ये जिम्मा उठाया है, they have pledged, they have vouched for it, they have taken an oath that they would be there, they would stand there to upgrade United Nations, they would be there to participate in the reforms that are needed, and they will instill is to provide or to fill something with. They will provide new life to the discussion on the reform of the Security Council. Those words can only be realized if the UNSC's permanent members recognize the deep peril. Peril is noun which means danger, khatra. Deep peril the UN faces and supports the reform process. Now this is possible, the countries ने जो promise किया है, this is possible only when UNSC realizes कि this is the need of the hour amid this, जहाँ पर उनको recognize करना होगा कि कितना बड़ा खतरा आगे है UN के लिए. An act that will require looking beyond their own interests for the greater good of the world and its peace-building architecture. So the writer says that UNSC has to realize, it has to go beyond its personal agendas, its own benefit and interest, and it has to look for, it has to give it a bird's eye view, overall view, it has to look for the profit of the world, entire world, and not just itself. So it has to go selfless, and it has to work for the nations ahead. This is what they need. This is what will give them peace building. This is what will bring good to the society, or I would say the world, right? So this is what the writer wishes to say, and writer has to say. Now the words that we've discussed today are all related to the economic background. Now, outdated. There was a word faulted. Now remember this. Faulted, galti mein hona. So it can be used as a verb, it can be used as an adjective also. So it depends on the usage of the word in the sentence. So you have to accordingly identify. Okay. So these were the words that I wished to discuss with you today, and this was the article that I wanted you guys to know. I will see you in the next session. And as I say, keep learning and growing. For the list of the words, go to the site in the study material section to the Hindu Vocab part. Go get this list there, right there, with the meaning, Hindi, English, with the part of speech, everything right there. Now your part is to look for synonyms and antonyms of the words that we've discussed, because this would help you further enhance your word power. Okay, that's your part. Now this is what I had to discuss. Also, hit the like button to the video, and not to forget to subscribe to the channel for more sessions with us, the upcoming sessions and the regular vocab session with us. Keep learning and growing, learners. Thank you so much.